As you saw by the title, today I want to talk to you about mediating between you and God by yourself. There's no need for anyone to mediate on your behalf. There's no need for priests or priestesses. There's no need for religion. There's no need for gurus or best-selling authors, psychics, your mom, dad, your next-door neighbor, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. You can do this by yourself. In fact, we have been mediating directly with the divine, for thousands of years, for hundreds of thousands of years. And this is called shamanism, sometimes also called mysticism. Poetry, art, visions. Saints also mediated directly between God and themselves. But the saints, especially if we're talking about Christianity, Catholic saints, only within the frame of the scripture. If you go out of that frame of what's allowed within the scripture, and it's heresy. I don't know what it's like in the traditions of Orthodox Christianity. I imagine it wouldn't be too different. It's different, for instance, in Islam, in the Sufi tradition. The Sufi poets and the Sufi dervishes, dancers, they have gone out of the map, beyond the map, beyond what's permitted, and they have written about it, and they criticize scriptures and religion. But mind you, this was written hundreds of years ago, so now I think it will be quite different. Anyway, mediating between you and God, or for the purpose of this video, I'll just refer to it as divine, but you can also call it spirit, soul, consciousness, energy. So mediating between you and divine, I will just tell you three simple ways of the oldest three ways of mediating. And these are dreams, poetry, and art. Dreams are probably the oldest way of receiving direct communion with the holy. There used to be, in the old days, in ancient Greece and later in ancient Rome, the classic mythology period, there used to be temples into which a person could go, retire for a night or two, and then they would be helped by the people working there, by the priests, by the priestesses, to get themselves ready, sleep and dream, being touched or being helped by the divine, by the god or by a goddess. And this practice was practiced for many hundreds of years, until, of course, our religions have destroyed paganism when they thought it was superstition. When we definitely started to, especially in the West, just worship the books, what's written in the script, and you're not allowed to question that, or you're not allowed to have your own experiences, only through the church, through the priests who mediate on your behalf. But back then, you could go into one of these shrines and, for instance, dream and had a dream. You would certainly ask the deity to help you in a way that whatever it is that you wanted to be healed, a physical illness or a mental illness, or you could ask for your family member on behalf of your family member, and so on. So dreams are one of the oldest ways of getting in touch personally, direct mystic experience of the divine and receiving answers and healing and advice and wisdom. So the way you do it is you need to incubate. That is to say, the outside world has to be not important to you. You got to withdraw from the outside and return all your energy, all your life force, what we call the libido. All your attention flows inward. Your inward life becomes more important for the period of incubation than the outside life. So you're not really communicating with anybody. You turn off your phone, you don't answer the front door, don't answer the phone, you don't answer the, people don't bother you, so that you can redirect all your attention, all your libido, your energy flows inward to whatever, to the dream, your own dream life, and then you start to sleep more. Then something might happen. I mean, initially you're probably not going to have anything because your mind is so wound up with everyday problems and survival instincts and so on. But eventually, when you give it time, when you have managed to redirect all your energy, all your psychic energy, all your attention inward, something might happen. There will be encounter with the divine, where something holy will touch you. And you will know when that happens. It's usually a big dream, what we call archetypal dreams. Archetypal simply means that this pattern of what you've experienced, this symbolic dream that you had, or the symbols in the dream, repeat. They're not only present in your own psyche, but they're present in the psyche of all of humanity. So we're talking here about mythology, really. So the deity might be more mythological, like an Anubis from ancient Greece, or from ancient Egypt, or goddess Isis, or maybe Zeus. Someone that feels to you that is actually something that it's not just personal to your own tradition, but it's collective to all of humanity's tradition. It could be Jesus, could be Christ, it could be a saint, or could be someone, that is maybe a Buddha, if you're a Buddhist. So it depends on your own tradition. But usually it is an archetypal image. It would be an old man with a long beard, or an older woman, a wise one, maybe a sacred animal, a magical animal, someone that gives you the instructions of what you need to know. And so that's the dreams. And the other way of getting in touch with is poetry. And poetry is fine because it's intuitive. You don't need to write a whole page or 2 pages. You just need to start writing. So 1 line, 2 lines, you catch a word here, catch a word there. Reading books, mythological books, helps in this reference. I'm looking at the time because I don't want this video to be longer than 10 minutes. So that's poetry. And the last one is art. Art is important because art is probably the oldest way of communicating with the divine, or making contact with the divine. If we look at the old caves, Paleolithic caves, humanity has contacted the divine that way for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. So you have the 3 ways, and the art works the same way, like dreams and poetry. You catch words here, catch words there, and images, inspiration, and you put it into art. You put it into some kind of creative form. And what comes out in your art initially might not happen, and nothing might happen. But you doodle. You start with doodling, like just being creative, like you were when you were a kid. Just something happens and you go along and see what happens. And you might draw a tree, which is archetypal. You might draw a lake or a stream or a well or a bird. All these images are archetypal. And then you need to become more interested in what these things mean, so that you can integrate them into your everyday life. That's when the transformation usually happens. In dreams, it happens sometimes immediately because the presence of the divine is right there. But in art and poetry, it happens a little later, when you start to integrate and realize what actually happened. Okay, so you have the 3 ways of getting in touch: the dreams, poetry, and art. And like I said, you don't need anyone to mediate on your behalf. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye.